focus on winning the championship. If and when holding that trophy, anything else won't matter.
Simmons, a freight train in transition. Embiid from Simmons.
The Phoenix Suns have taken complete control.
Trae Young has been having some slender man nightmares all series long, with Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle following him everywhere he goes. Now the Hawks are looking to get this series level before the series swings back to Philly. The Sixers are not in the clear just yet, though. They will be without the services of Danny Green, who is out a couple weeks due to a strained calf.
And we welcome in Tim Bontemps, start of Game 4, Sixers at Hawks. Philly, of course, they took the last two after dropping the first one at home. And Tim, given those questions and legitimate ones about the right knee of Joel Embiid coming into this series, how are you feeling about what you've seen from him so far in 3 games?
Well, look, Mark, if you told the Sixers Joel Embiid was going to look like this when the series began, I think they would have been thrilled with that outcome, right? You know, there's been a couple of times when he's landed on that right leg late in Game 1. There was a moment in Game 3 where it looked like he tweaked the other knee. That you've seen him wince a bit, and everybody in Philly's kind of gone, oh no, this could be the moment that we don't want to see happen. But other than those brief instances where he looks like he's in some pain, Embiid looks like the same player who's arguably been the most dominant player in the league this entire season. And this is the guy playing at this level that gave a lot of people the thought that the Sixers were capable of winning the NBA title this year. Now, obviously, they still have to finish off this series. They then have to get through either Milwaukee or Brooklyn in the conference semis or in the conference finals. So there's a long way to go for them to even get to the NBA finals. But Joel Embiid could stay on the court and keep playing like this. There's an awful lot to be excited about in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. And, you know, as I watch those games, every time he hits the floor, you're just like, oh, and he seems to have an initial reaction, then realizes, hey, everything is just fine. And then he's coming right back. He's been real impressive. Let's talk about a guy who is injured, who's a key for them, obviously, is a 3-and-D guy that they brought in, Danny Green. So he's got the calf problem, and obviously that's going to have a major impact on this series. What do we know about that?
Well, Danny Green is going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, Mark, with this calf strain, which means he's at least out until the middle of the conference finals and probably beyond that, because generally when teams say they're going to reevaluate a guy in a couple weeks, doesn't mean he's coming back in a couple weeks. It tends to mean that's when there's the next update on where he's at. So if you're already looking at that being halfway through the conference finals, you probably can make a decent guess that Danny Green's going to be knocked out for basically the entire conference finals, at least at this point. So that is a really big loss for the Sixers. I know people criticize Danny Green for the way he defended Trae Young in the first half, in particular Game 1, but Trae Young, as we've seen throughout the playoffs, is a pretty darn good player. So I don't think that's any huge crime against him. And he's been an excellent three-point shooter for them this year, shooting over 40% from the field and really allowing them to have a guy who can both be a credible threat on offense and defense next to Seth Curry on the wing. So now Doc Rivers has a really interesting decision to make. He can either go with Furkan Korkmaz, who's a really good shooter, but is a bit of a suspect defender, or he could go with Matisse Thybulle, who's one of the best defensive wings in the league, might be the best defensive wing in the league at this point, but is a pretty suspect offensive player who is not really a threat to shoot the ball from the perimeter. So it's going to be really interesting to see which way Doc goes with that, because it could have a big impact on where the Sixers go from here.
Absolutely.